I think fairy tales and the realm of fairy comes from the ferment of experience. And of course, that's what characterizes adulthood. Experience. We wouldn't have fairy tales if we didn't have adulthood. If we didn't have experience. It's like saying, only children have dreams. Do you dream? I had some scary dreams last night myself. I still have dreams. Because it's the realm of fairy, and I think the older we get, the more experience we have, the more populated our fairy tales become. The more there is going on there. I find myself, and maybe you do too, find yourself, wandering back and forth across the threshold of fairy without always being aware of it. Yesterday morning, for example, I was sitting on the beach at the end of Commercial Boulevard where the fishing pier is in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, just at the crack of dawn, just before dawn. In that dark other end of twilight, right? That half-light before morning. My mother was beside me, and we were sitting in the sand, wet and cool. Something about rubbing your hand back and forth in the sand that I find so gratifying. We were sitting there, and I was looking out, and the ocean was like a mill pond. It was flat, and it had a kind of a platinum sheen to it. Way off along the edge of the east was a faint neon glow, and above it, little light blue streaks darkening as it crossed over into the remaining night, and there were a few stars up above. And then just the sound, the shh, 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 of a little bit of water lapping on the shore, shh, shh, and the still and the quiet, and the calm and the peace, and the cool, and my mother beside me, and the stars twinkling in her eyes, and the sand running back and forth between my fingers, and the water so flat and silvery, and a distant neon glow, and streaks going from light blue to dark blue, and a star, and everything about to dawn. And it was this moment that suddenly the sky, though, began to disintegrate, began to fall apart in little shreds and pieces like old plaster. And the dawn began to darken and sink, and the ocean receded like a mirage. And I looked to my mother, and she was gone, and I found myself standing in the kitchen, and the bacon was burning. I mean, I had never liquefied bacon before. This is exactly what happened. My kitchen turned into a Smithy's forge. I suddenly turned, and it had been right behind me all the time, sizzling and hissing and going shh, 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 like that. But I had completely neglected it because I was off in the realm of fairy. You step into it and you come back from it like Rip Van Winkle, and years have passed. And I had to grab the hot pads, and I had to take the pan off the stove, and then I scraped the liquefied bacon into the sink, and immediately it hit the cold water and turned into a really interesting modern piece of sculpture. An ingot. And I was reminded of being in that fairy realm, in that fairy moment. And the last time I was in my mother's condominium in Florida, it was empty, save for all those memories and those moments. It was the off-white carpet that was dented with the imprint of the footprints of the former furnishings that were there, the armchairs and the coffee table, and the corner where she'd had claw-footed end table and the lovely lamp that she and Dad had picked up on a trip to Florence many years ago. And it's all gone. But I could see it there, little faint outlines of memory. And then I started noticing things in the corner of my eye, little things flitting back and forth. Stuff happens in the corners of our eyes, and we often ignore it, sometimes to our peril. But I learned that if something happens in the corner of the eye over here, rather than turning to try to see it, it kind of goes away. I realized that you have to kind of go with her shins. You have to go the other way, around like that. So something went here, and I went there, and I called it. There were these little bald-headed men with leather aprons on. The aprons were stuffed, their pockets were stuffed with little slide rulers and protractors and pens and pencils, and they were all muttering to each other, and it seemed as if they were all named Herman, because they kept saying, "Herman, where did you put it? I don't know, it's on where? I haven't left it a moment ago. Well, where is that moment? We haven't got a moment to spare. Hurry, hurry, hurry." And then they stopped, and they looked at me, and I looked at them, and they said, began to speak out of the sides of their mouths, "Do you think he sees us?" "I don't know. He's looking our way. Maybe he sees something behind us. Is there something behind us?" "No, I don't see anything. He's looking at us. He's looking at us. Oh my goodness, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Well, maybe we should talk to him." "You talk to him, Herman." "No, you talk to him, Herman." Okay. I said, "What are you guys talking about? Who are you? What are you doing here in this house, in this condo? What are you doing in my mother's place here?" "Oh, well, we're the moving crew. We're removing everything." "Well, everything is removed, so what is there to take anymore? Every moment that there was, we have to take it. We haven't a moment to lose," they said. They said, "Time is running out. And we need to collect and recycle every moment we can. And so we're taking it all. We're taking all the leftover moments and memories. We're taking them away." And one of them had a box. I said, "Well, can I look in there?" And I reached in and I pulled out, and I suddenly was sitting there on the ocean, at the end of Commercial Boulevard by the fishing pier. The sand was cool, and the sea was flat, and there was this neon glow on the horizon and streaks of blue going up into the stars of the remaining night. The air was cool, and my mother was beside me, and the stars were twinkling in her eyes. And then it whisked away, and I was back there in her old condo. And I said, "Stop. I claim that moment. I still possess that moment. It's my legacy. It's my heritage. It's my inheritance. You cannot take that moment. I want every moment in there that I have some part and parcel of." So I went through those boxes, and I gathered up every moment I found. And I keep them. And I figured out how we navigate the time managers who want to take our moments away from us. We share them with others. For you see, now, when I'm no longer here to enjoy that moment, you can remember it. Because it's your moment now. So you have a claim on it. That's what we get to do in the realm of fairy.